Good afternoon. It's Good Friday. Welcome to St. Peter's and Hove. I think there's rather a lot of light coming through the window. That's why I look a bit washed out. We've just been singing in church one of the most beautiful hymns, in my opinion. I think probably the most beautiful hymn of all, namely, When I Survey This Wondrous Cross on which the Prince of Glory died. It's written by a man called Isaac Watts, and he wrote it in the year 1707 during the reign of Queen Anne. And of course, Isaac Watts was a congregational minister. So it's a little bit later than Samuel Crossman's hymn, which we considered yesterday, which was written a few decades before. It's amazing that something written 300 years ago 300 years ago, is so actual and speaks to us so much. Of course, it's one of the greatest hits of all time. Hundreds of hymns were written by Isaac Watts. This is the only one we sing today. And of course, it's the only one that I sing as a Catholic, I think. When I survey the wondrous cross on which the Prince of Glory died, my richest gain I count but loss, and pour contempt on all my pride. It's a beautiful, beautiful tune. The tune, incidentally, was written by a man called Miller who worked for Handel. So obviously top quality. But the words are top quality. The theology is top quality. When I look at the cross, he's saying, the only thing that's important to me is the Prince of Glory and the cross. Everything else is rubbish. What he's doing here is he's echoing a sentiment of St. Paul, where he says, I count the whole world as rubbish compared to the joy or the knowledge of knowing Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ, on the one hand, the rest of the world on the other, I choose Jesus Christ above all else. In other words, such is the devotion that is in the human heart when it surveys the wondrous cross, contemplate, looks at, stares at, spends time in front of the wondrous cross, the cross of wonders, the miraculous cross, that everything else in that moment is of no importance. Everything else is forgotten. Now, this sentiment is often used by secular poets, isn't it? In fact, it's exactly the same idea used by the most secular of all poets, if we are to take his word for it. He was an atheist, Kit Marlowe. Is this the face that launched 1,000 ships? Sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. He sees Helen of Troy, this is Dr. Faustus, he sees Helen of Troy, and everything else ceases to be important. The only thing that matters is Helen of Troy. Of course, what he doesn't realize is he's not seeing Helen of Troy at all. He's seeing a devil dressed up as Helen of Troy, because the devil can't give us anything good. Temptations are never good things. They're always bad things dressed up as good things. And he says, she sucks forth my soul. In other words, damnation, sweet Helen, make me immortal with a kiss. But damnation is what follows. But it's all worth it for that look or that kiss of Helen. And again, you have Dryden, who was roughly the same time as Isaac Watts, who described the tragedy of Antony and Cleopatra as the world well, all for love, or the world well lost. Dryden was actually a Catholic. And it's the same thing in this hymn. All for love, or the world well lost. But the love of God is what triumphs here over the love of the world. I can't pour contempt on all my pride. All the things I thought important compared to the love of God are nothing. So today, on Good Friday, that is the feeling we should have. God alone and nothing else. Forbid it, Lord, that I should boast, save in the death of Christ my God. All the vain things, Helen of Troy, etc., that charm me most, I sacrifice them to his blood. Out with them all. See from his head, his hands, his feet, sorrow and love flow mingled down. Did e'er such love and sorrow meet, or thorns compose so rich a crown? Were the whole realm of nature mine, that were a present far too small. Love so amazing, so divine, demands my soul, my life, my all. So, what this hymn is telling us is that the love of Christ, made manifest to us on the cross by Jesus' sacrifice, elicits from us a response, which is to give ourselves totally to God. It's a beautiful hymn. It's a beautiful sentiment. When you think of the saints, the great saints, even those of our time, like John Paul II, Mother Teresa, the Blessed Carlo Acutis, They gave themselves entirely to God. And that was probably the true, I think, of the man who wrote this hymn, Isaac Watts. He wasn't a Catholic, but he did give himself entirely to God. I think, at least when he did, though, so when he was writing this hymn, because it's so wonderfully sincere. May Isaac Watts now see forever the vision glorious that inspired him to write this hymn. Okay, that's enough for today. I hope you have a really prayerful Good Friday ahead of you. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.